Hello, and welcome to the Nebraska Wesleyan University Theater Podcast, the podcast made by the students, staff, and faculty of Nebraska Wesleyan's Theater Department for patrons like you. Today we have Jake Myers, a BFA in Theater Arts with an emphasis in directing and technical and theatrical design. Hi, Jake.
Hello.
Yeah. So, this week you got back from attending the USITT conference in California this year, was it?
Yeah, I was in Long Beach.
Yeah, how was that?
Well, for starters, that's my home state, so it was good to get back. I fortunately took an early spring break and got to go back and see some of my family, so that was pretty fun. But overall, it was an incredible experience. Me and 5 other students here, a part of USITT's chapter here in Nebraska Wesleyan, got the chance to go and meet a lot of really fun industry professionals. We got to find a lot of different job opportunities or just meeting a lot of different companies in the tech world, getting to see the expanse that we don't often get to see when we're just at Wesleyan itself. But we still get to do a lot, which is really fun. We got to do workshops. We got to do labs that got us introduced into doing other things that we might do on our day-to-day, especially outside of Wesleyan. And then, as I mentioned, there was an expo floor dedicated with almost 100+ different companies that we just got to talk to and meet, which was awesome.
That does sound awesome. So this is a conference for everything related to theatrical design and technical elements in theater?
Yes. It happens annually. Next year, they're going to be going to Baltimore, Maryland, and then they even announced that after that, they're going to Kansas City in 2008, or 2028, not 08.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a lot of fun, and it essentially, it's just a great opportunity to just see new designs, see new technology. They actually announced a couple different new things that are coming into different industries right now.
Yeah, what's coming up?
They just announced that there's a couple different cool just tech advancements that they've done. There's a new light that they've brought in that basically is just a very more updated mover that has a lot more stuff you can do with it. They talked a lot more about new fly systems or how to just automate those better. They even discussed wireless mic packs that are able to go into your wig cap. And so, that's
really?
even cool. Yeah.
That's
that
awesome.
You can just hide under different wigs. And so, there was a lot of really cool things we got to see that's new and up and coming. And on top of that, we just also got to see a lot of just what's already out there. Because a lot of people there are also selling. And so, because again, this isn't dedicated to just college theater students or high school theater students. It's everyone.
Yeah.
It's everyone in the tech theater. So there was over 1,000 people there from all age groups, all diverse ranges, everywhere in the country. And they were just there and doing whatever they needed. Some people were teachers who were looking to buy different equipment. Some were students looking for jobs. Or some were people just trying to just meet others and network in the industry, which is part of the biggest reason that they do the conference, is just to meet everyone and get a network built so that you have people you can talk to outside of here. I, for example, joined the Stage Managers Association, which essentially is a really good reference for me because there's an entire directory of every SM who is in the country right now who is willing to just share maybe their email or their phone number. So say I moved to Chicago after I graduate. I can just look up all the SMs that are in the Chicago area through their association, and I could literally just be like, hey, want to grab a cup of coffee? I'm a new person in the area looking to kind of put my foot in the door. What advice can you give me? And it's just a really good opportunity. And so that is also the hugest thing that it was offered, was just being able to network and get to meet other people.
Yeah, that sounds like a great networking opportunity.
And
this isn't the first time you've gone, is it?
This is the first time I've gone. The last time Wesleyan got the chance to go was when it was my freshman year, where we had a couple students go. I think there was 1 or 2 students who went to the Seattle one that they had. And then the year prior to that, I know our chapter went when they had it in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we're looking at being able to take our technical students there on a more regular basis, right?
Oh, yes. I know for a fact that there are plans to continue this and make sure it happens every year.
Yeah.
We've even started coming up with an idea that once we're there, they always have a designed poster for every year. And so we bought one this year using our budget, and then we're going to try to – I know that plans for the future is to keep doing that. So then once we have our design lab space, we can hang them up as if they were show posters and kind of be able to see the past years of everything we've gotten to do and just grow with that.
Yeah, and that sounds awesome.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful experience. Would recommend to anyone who's thinking about it, especially if you're a tech theater student.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the audience can't see this, but right now you are all made up.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So
I
what's
love
that makeup
Purdy.
for?
Yeah, I'm in full makeup and everything because right after this podcast, I get to go start filming again for the show I'm in. Dre Mitnick is doing a show called Aurora, where he is being the director, and it is a short film project that's a part of our directing, advanced directing class. And so I'm all dolled up because I knew that right after this I was gonna have to head on over there. But yeah.
What has it been like being a part of a student-directed film?
You know, this is my second one I've been a part of, and both have been vastly different experiences just based on the show itself, but also based on the directors. That's something that's really fun about getting to work with different student directors is you get such a different style each time you go in and you get to work on different things. Funnily enough, working on this one has been a lot of fun because this one is a lot of off-site filming. And so kind of working with what it's like to do filming outside of where you're kind of used to. A lot of what we did for the first film I was in was filming kind of on campus and around campus. But this one, we get to drive about 15 minutes off of campus towards the west side and film on a bridge, which is a lot of fun. It's also a fun project because there's two of us. It's only two of us, which means a lot of the shots are really in depth because of the fact that, one, we get to be super condensed and close, but also since it's only two of us, there's not a lot of time waiting around for other people to do it and wait for their filming to happen, which is also something that's very interesting too, is it, depending on the cast size you have too, it could take longer as a film project or sometimes even shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as a student actor, what has it been like working on this film?
You know, it's been a lot of fun. It's gotten me to work on different emotional complexities that I didn't get to in a lot of different projects I've worked on. Because I like to try to do everything I can, be an all-arounder. That's the one thing I've always said about myself, jack of all trades, master of none. And so something I've always challenged myself to do is find these different projects that I can audition for that have a different level of how I'm doing it, from going to either a comedy to a murder mystery or to a show that is more of a dark and tragic story. And so what's really fun about being an actor here and getting to work a part of these films, but also just in the directing program that our students get to offer, is that different level of everything all aroundness. And so just being able to enjoy working in this deep emotional piece that we're getting to work on has just been a lot of fun and a really big challenge for me as someone who is working on trying to be more emotionally complex in my performance.
Yeah, and have you noticed that in the transition from from theater to film?
Yeah, truth be told, with our student directing program, based on where we kind of typically hold our shows, a lot of them are in a very condensed and very close up section and seating. And so when we're working in the studio, a lot of our audience is really up close and personal with the actors, which I think in live performance gets to offer a lot of really fun development because you just get to have that really close emotional connection with your audience, which then helps drive you. In film, it's a lot different because you're just there with your director, your production manager, maybe your filmographer if you have one, and kind of just get to only work with the camera. The difference is that you get to do multiple takes, which means, say there was one take you had that you felt really good about, you can go with it. But say there was a take you had that was, dear God, you're like, I was not in it. I felt super like, say if it's a sad piece, very happy during that. And maybe that's not the choice I wanted to make. Can we reshoot it? That is applicable. Yeah. Which is what I think is the biggest fun difference to go between from film and live theater is that live theater, things happen, but whatever happens on stage is what the audience gets. In film, being able to reshoot allows you to kind of depict what the audience gets to view and kind of allows that opportunity of different levels of moments. So kind of what's fun as well about the rehearsal process itself is also in the film side, we've gotten to do a lot of staging right before we do it. And then say we made a choice during staging that we didn't like, sometimes an instinct would happen while we're recording and we'll go, that was incredible. Can we reshoot with that exact choice again and like make sure that is exactly where we're planning and setting up to go to?
Yeah, it's kind of like being in rehearsal and being able to have that performance come from the rehearsals.
Oh, yeah. And truth be told, I think a lot of times it's very fun to see how things translate from rehearsal to the stage. Because sometimes things that happen in rehearsal, sometimes once you're on that stage and in front of an audience, sometimes just drown away because you're just so in it and so impulsively working as an actor. And so sometimes in the film side of things, because of that rehearsal, basically you're just filming a rehearsal, just makes it so much more, I think, less overwhelming and less stressing. But it also gives you that chance to play even more than what you might need to do once you have like a fully blocked show that you're performing in front of an audience.
And it helps ease that fear of getting up in front of the audience and being like, shoot, what is my line?
Yes, that as well. Because the other fun thing, similar to how you kind of record a podcast, is you get the ability to edit. And so you have the chance to say someone messed up a line, you can still stay in the moment, and maybe the production manager can give you your line, and then you just completely go from right there, and you're able to just do a jump cut in that sort of editing process, which is really fun, truth be told. Post-production is always one of the more fun parts about these film projects, just being able to like get that vision to come together. Because you're recording this, but you have no idea what the recording might end up looking like until once you're in that post-production. And so getting the chance to like see it all in a through line and then get to cut around it and like make all these different angles happen or all these fun different effects, just really make it a fun time.
Yeah. Speaking of student director productions, you are also a phenomenal director here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
So-
totally like you haven't worked with me, and now you're just saying that because of you don't want me to be mad at you. No.
What? I've never worked with you in my life before.
What?
So you recently closed a production of The Alibis from 13 different authors? 14?
Eight different
Okay.
authors. Yes.
Yes, one of those numbers, yeah. So, what was it like directing this?
Yeah. So this is my third project I've gotten to do here. And this project was probably the most ambitious one I've had. For starters, like you mentioned, it's written by 8 different playwrights, which is a lot alone of a challenge because literally the show itself was a challenge for those playwrights to write a like 10-minute little short story that fits in a full through line of this murder mystery that's happening. And so getting the chance to kind of like see the different styles of how all the different authors write a different show and playing into that, because a lot of them felt like they had a very distinct trope or style of show. Like there was one called Mil Noir, which clearly is dedicated towards the film noir style.
Absolutely love it.
And so working with the actors in this challenging landscape of trying to work on shifting between these different characters really fast and being able to play into these different styles as we jump through these different short stories is a lot of fun. On top of that, being such an ambitious project, this show was written with the intent of having 10 to 55 plus actors.
Oh, wow.
And we did it with 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We did it with 4 less actors than is anticipated. Yeah. Fortunately, for the round that this was supposed to happen, we had the exact amount of people we needed between myself and Xander, who was directing Tartuffe. Oops, all women at that time.
Yeah.
And we had the direct amount of people audition for that. Say we had more people audition, maybe my vision would have changed a little bit more, and possibly I would have casted at least a couple more roles into that. But overall, it was for such an ambitious project, and for like the grandiose of it all being a show that is, 1, a very long, very wordy show, 2, a show dedicated that these 4 specific actors have to change between a character for each of the small 8 short stories. But also in general, just playing with how we're gonna show the audience that these people are playing these different characters was a fun challenge to take on. And truth be told, which is something I love about the student directing program, is that it offers, 1, a director, but 2, the actors, a huge challenge of how you can go about it. And it also isn't as stress-inducing because being able to work with your peers and have that sort of already like layered professionalism, but also having that friendship and like relationships already built prior to joining into the project is something that is also very helpful, because like the actors I casted and had the chance to work with were fantastic. And some of them I hadn't known before and some of them I did. And so like, 1, there's also that like, I do kind of have a baseline of what these people can do. But at the same time, a lot of them even like blew away past the expectations I had already had set in my mind of after casting what was going to happen. And that's also the fun thing that happens in these projects, is that you get the chance to really see people come out of their shell and really just like take the stage and make it their own, which sometimes doesn't always feel like our main stages get the offer, because of the fact that sometimes in that professional realm, it feels very sometimes a little stress inducing, a little overwhelming that, again, the student directeds, I think, give a little ease on, if you will.
Yeah, and I think you're touching on something that's kind of interesting for me to watch, at least, was when I came here, I noticed that a lot of the productions, like not just the student directed, but also the main stage productions, have become very collaborative. And that's kind of a shift in theater we're seeing now, where it used to be kind of a dictatorship style, where whatever the director said would go, and you would sink or swim with that captain at the helm. But theater has kind of changed now, where you're seeing a lot more collaboration where everyone's coming together to make the art. And I really like that style of being able to just jump in and be like, hey, I can do this. Hey, I can do this. Hey, let's come together and let's make this a more whole piece of art.
Oh, 100%. Something that, especially like as we talk in class, is what is the best way we can like go about even just starting and like getting the foot in the door, and then just working with the actors on what we can create. Because as a director, your job isn't to really like make a show from your like marionette strings. The idea is that you are there as a person who is, one, giving a vision for a show, a vision that can hopefully be adaptable, something that doesn't actually have like 100% set in stone needs, but has the ability to work with these people who are coming into the script the very first time after working like in the audition room, and getting the chance to see what their visions are and what their ideas of the characters you have casted them in as, and getting the chance to like adapt your vision to help play into what they have and what their instincts are. Because again, as a director, your goal isn't to force a person how to do something, but instead is to help guide their choices and help guide them towards your vision, which is also true because the other thing you're doing as a director is being that audience proxy. You're there to be the person who is basically the audience member. You are there to make sure that whatever is happening on stage makes sense, has a through line, but also gets that reaction out of the audience that you are envisioning and looking for in these different scenes. And so playing into that collaboration, as I mentioned, like getting the chance to really work with the actors and really just kind of let them play with whatever they think and just kind of run with it. Maybe sometimes it's a choice that doesn't exactly work in the grand scheme of things, but that's what's hugely fun about doing these student directives is that, one, because it's not like feeling like you have this professor as your director, you feel a little more comfortable in the ability to jump out of your shell and to make a choice that maybe sometimes wouldn't be as appropriate to do in sort of a main stage, really professional show. And that is also what's grand to happen because, again, you never know what can happen. And like as a director, you can plan, but until you get the actors in the room that you work with and get the chance to see what they're doing and making what they can do to make the show their own as well, and not just like have those characters in your mind that you kind of force them into a box, like you mentioned, is one of the funniest, funniest, yes, but also one of the most fun parts about getting to work in these, especially from a directing standpoint, is just watching your peers grow and take your vision and just run with it. And so like that was one of the most fun experiences I got to see with the Alibis, was just watching the actors just really take in the show, really enjoy what was coming out of it, and just run with it. And just have a great time of just trying to figure out their own impulses and figure out their own ways of going about these different characters that, heck, even I didn't have in mind. Sometimes I had a completely different vision, and then they came in. One, even at the read-through, there was a couple different times where it's like this person made a choice, and I was like, I didn't think about that, but that is incredible. Let's run with that, because maybe my choice, even like we can try it, but like even maybe my choice wasn't even right based on the instincts that you just gave it. And so that's what's just great in the collaborative scheme that we're kind of playing into, especially as student directors, because it is just a lot of us who are at the same age and who are all learning, which also helps play into that collaboration. Because like as someone who is learning, I want to know what the other person who's trying to learn as well has their input on. Because again, as a director, it's best practice to not just, like you mentioned, put someone in a box and force them to do something that, again, might not even be comfortable or very good in that time space. And so
yeah, I especially remember when we were working on Bacon with the Side of Eggs. The ending of that was very emotional, and you weren't like, okay, now you come here. It was we had one rehearsal where we just sat down and we talked through it, and we talked through all those emotions, and I got to just like process out loud with it, with you, and then just kind of sit there on the set and just live it. And it was really nice because you were there, you were supportive, and it wasn't like my product, it wasn't your product, it was the show we put together.
It was. That's the one thing as a director. The two main goals I have as a director is one, to just be able to have an audience really connect emotionally with the show. If it's a show that's in my eyes is dedicated to make someone laugh, I want to hear laughter from the crowd. If it's a show I feel that is more really emotionally deep and I want to evoke the emotion of either crying, I want it to happen because I just want to have an audience be able to be with every other audience member watching the show, to be vulnerable with each other in the moments you get to be watching this show. And then my other goal, like you kind of just mentioned, is to make it not feel like it's my product or it's your product. But if you probably can tell, a lot of what I try to talk to is in pronouns of pluralness. I don't like to be like an I or a me. I love to be a we. Yeah. I like to have it be our and not mine. Like, that is the other goal I always have, is to make it a product that feels like everyone was a part of instead of like no one was or one person didn't get to feel a part of it, because I want everyone to be a part of it. Heck, I try to get our stage manager a part of it for most of it too.
Yeah.
The Alibis, the goal was to have the stage manager play our character of Arlington that comes in near the end of the show.
Yeah.
It didn't work because we didn't get a stage manager fast enough.
That's
but like, it's even one of those things where it's like, I really want to even like make the people who are sometimes even backstage get to feel a part of the show and like get to feel like they are making their moment. And so like, I'm glad to hear that that's the experience you got from it and enjoyed it. But yeah, just the chance as well as like, since I'm learning too, a lot of that process too was me trying to like figure out as a director, what can I do to help you get into that emotion and help you be able to like run with it and make sure it felt, one, safe, but two, that it felt right and it felt natural. Because one thing that's different from Bacon and the Alibis is that Bacon is a lot more layered in realism and naturalism.
Yeah.
And that's something that Alibis is a little different of, because Alibis was a very cheeky and very quirky show, which was also very similar to the first show I did. But Bacon was a lot different because it was layered in a lot of real, one, traumatic experience.
Yeah, it was a lot to go through.
Yeah, but two, very just realistic to what we see in the world sometimes. And so it was just one of those challenges, like I mentioned, to push myself, but also to help push you guys into how we play into those circumstances and how we continue it on. And so I'm very glad you felt that experience, and I'm glad you felt supported, because that is also something as a director that should be always a goal, is to make sure that you're there in support and not there as an enemy or as like a dictator.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
All right. Well, as we wind down the school year, I kind of just have one last question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
What's up next for you?
Yeah. Currently, I'm open and free. If anyone's hiring, please contact me at jmyers4 at Nebraska Wesleyan or nebrwesleyan.edu. I'm currently through a lot of different options. Just coming back from the USITT conference, I have a lot of applications I've been submitting and applying to a bunch of these different companies to hopefully hire me. But on top of that, I'm kind of an open book right now, because since I'm waiting on hearing back from a lot of these opportunities, I'm kind of just up in the air with whatever the heck I'm doing. But I just know that Wesleyan has given me a great chance to have a big resume. And so basically wherever I go, I'm pretty sure there is a job waiting for me if I just apply for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for coming to talk with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem. That was Jake Myers, Theater Arts BFA with an emphasis in directing and technical and theatrical design. Coming up this week in the department, on Monday, March 30th and 31st, we will have 2 student-directed productions, Owl's Colt and The Formalies. You can find tickets for free on our website. Please come support. We will be going on Easter break this week, so there will be no classes on Friday, April 3rd or Monday, April 6th. Finally, we are proud to announce the Nebraska Wesleyan University schedule for the 2026-2027 season. We will have Dear World, September 18th through the 20th in McDonald Theater. We will have Underdog, The Other Bronte, October 2nd through the 4th, and the 9th through the 11th in the Miller Theater. We will have Sister Act, October 29th to November 1st, and November 5th to November 8th in the McDonald Theater. We will have It's a Wonderful Life, a radio play, December 3rd through 6th, and 10th through 13th in the Miller Theater. We will have A Year with Frog and Toad, January 29th through the 31st, and February 5th through the 7th in the McDonald Theater. We will have Eureka Day, February 18th through the 21st in the Miller Theater. We will have The Merry Wives of Windsor, Florida, April 1st through the 4th, and the 8th through the 11th. This will be a production outdoors. And finally, our season will end with Cabaret, April 22nd through the 25th, and April 29th to May 1st in the McDonald Theater. Tickets will go on sale June 1st. Big thanks to Kevin McLeod from Incompetech.com for letting us use this Beast Dreamer, licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you will tune in next week.